The 1970s were a revolutionary time in movie history, with studios giving more creative control over to artists in order to capture the imaginations of a radically changing audience. That was certainly felt in the realm of science fiction, as cinema was willing to push boundaries with the genre in ways that still give us chills today. This is Giant Freakin' Robot, and these are the 1970s sci-fi movies that are still terrifying. Based on the controversial novel by Anthony Burgess, A Clockwork Orange focuses on the horrific crimes of youthful gang leader Alex, whose life revolves around his love for ultra-violence, and the nightmarish tragedy of his attempted reform by an authoritarian hyper-moralist society through a horrific experiment. A Clockwork Orange is a solid literary adaptation that serves up style and scares. And none of the performers are as stylish or scary as Malcolm McDowell, whose performance cemented Alex as one of the greatest protagonists in silver screen history. Stanley Kubrick's infamous film is bound to turn some viewers away. We even talked about its director contributing to banning the film in a previous video. But those with the stomach for it will be rewarded with an unnerving classic. Mad Max is an Australian futuristic tale that presents the land down under as a bleak hellscape in which oil shortages have brought humanity to the brink of self-annihilation. A cop, played by Mel Gibson in his breakout role, is all that stands between the encroaching chaos and the everyday men and women who just want to live peaceful lives. Unfortunately, peace isn't in the cards for Max Rockatansky, a family man who must become a road warrior after violence visits his doorstep. Gibson's performance gives Max roaring emotions and surprising inner depth. He's a loose cannon terrified of going off, and once he does, it's hunting season on biker punks. Come for the car chases, stay for the carnage. Logans Run features a futuristic world in which humanity gets to party like there's no tomorrow. However, there really is no tomorrow for those who turn 30 and are required to turn themselves in for carousel, a process that secretly kills them. Sandmen hunt down those who try to escape by fleeing the city, but when one of them is tasked with finding a runner sanctuary, his life will never be the same. Logans Run excels with its frightening premise. The story taps into our ancient fear of getting older while also showing the dangers of running an automated society by computer. From evil AI to apocalyptic anxiety, this half-century-old movie hasn't lost any of its relevance. You owe it to yourself to watch Logans Run before you get a visit from the Sandmen. Phantasm is a psychedelic phantasmagoria of bizarre ideas that better resembles a living nightmare than anything we can call reality. The sci-fi part of the story involves a mysterious tall man at a mortuary who is turning corpses into shrunken minions for his alien home planet. If anyone messes with him, he sends his weaponized flying balls to drill a hole in their head. We said this was weird, right? Phantasm is admittedly hard to explain, and if one of the tall man's severed fingers turning into an angry insect doesn't convince you how bizarre this film is, the attack of half-size humans and a hearse definitely will. Overcoming the scathing reviews of critics at the time, Phantasm has gone on to become one of horror's most endearing franchises, with Angus Scrimm returning as the Tall Man for all 5 films. Leave logic at the door and get swept away in the eerie unreality of Phantasm. Online rage grifters complain about endless remakes as if they haven't existed since the beginning of the film industry. One of the best remakes hit screens in 1978. Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Even if you've never seen the 1956 original or its other remakes, the basics of the plot are easy to swallow. Aliens invade Earth by replacing humans with emotionless duplicates. The catch is that the humans must be asleep for the process to work, a simple twist that turns every yawn into dramatic tension. Donald Sutherland leads the cast of famous sci-fi stars, including Veronica Cartwright, Jeff Goldblum, and Spock himself, Leonard Nimoy. Our heroes try to uncover the mystery of the pod people, but that soon takes a backseat to trying to survive another night. Invasion of the Body Snatchers is treated as a very serious story where the stakes are life and death for the entire human race. That's refreshing compared to modern films winking at the audience every 20 minutes with a tension-deflating joke. The result is one of the most impressive remakes of all time and remains a must-watch for any sci-fi or horror fan today. Before HBO's award-winning series was even a dream, author Michael Crichton made the leap to the silver screen in 1973 with Westworld, the classic sci-fi story of an advanced theme park that becomes a death trap for its guests. Two friends are having the time of their lives in the Wild West simulation when they realize that the robots are killing humans, leading up to a gunslinger duel that's all too real.
Draw.
It's a slow burn, but it's worth it for Yul Brynner's performance as the robotic gunslinger, an iconic horror villain who can't be stopped in his pursuit of justice. Before the T-1000, before Jason, before Michael Myers, the gunslinger was the original unstoppable force. Though the bleak future depicted in 1973's Soilent Green is now behind us in the year 2025, its narrative about a society in disrepair as human rights continually get stomped on by the ruling class is the stuff of nightmares, and still rings depressingly true. By the year 2022, the world's population has been subdued by a ruling class of elites as resources like food, housing, and water become increasingly unobtainable. Common citizens have no choice but to eat synthetic products, simply known as Soilent Red and Soilent Yellow, while their oppressors have access to natural foods and an abundance of other luxuries behind closed doors. NYPD Detective Robert Thorne finds himself living in a dystopian nightmare when tasked with investigating the murder of a wealthy executive from the Soilent Corporation, while the general population is introduced to a new food source derived from plankton known as Soilent Green. A slow-burn mystery of the highest order, Soilent Green generates its dread through its depiction of a society in shambles that's grimy, claustrophobic, and eerily prophetic, allowing Charlton Heston to deliver one of the most iconic lines in science fiction history.
Soilent Green is people!
Sorry, Planet of the Apes. Soilent Green isn't just a bona fide cult classic. It's a warning about societal woes that are more common than ever in the present day. If you're looking for a wake-up call, this is it. Masterfully blending sci-fi and horror in ways no one had seen before, Alien is a relentless exercise in suspense and paranoia as some unknown extraterrestrial antagonist claims its subjects one by one. When crew members aboard the Nostromo are instructed by their computer to investigate a mysterious signal in deep space, they get more than they bargained for after a species of unknown origin follows them onto the ship. Initially intending to study the life form, their research is immediately derailed when they learn they are housing a hostile creature that latches onto faces, bleeds acid, and intends to use their bodies to propagate the species. The cramped corridors of the Nostromo alone make Alien a masterclass in claustrophobic tension and suspense, but we need to talk about the titular antagonist itself. It's slimy, repulsive, has a mouth inside of its mouth, and is absolute nightmare fuel even by today's standards, proving just how ahead of its time Alien was upon its release. And of course, Sigourney Weaver's Ripley redefined the genre's idea of a heroine with nothing to lose in her fight for survival. Few movies combine horror and sci-fi this well. Alien crawls under your skin, but only before bursting out of your chest. This one's a classic for a reason. Taking a more personal approach to sci-fi and body horror, David Cronenberg's The Brood is a custody battle wrapped in psychoplasmic trauma that will keep you awake for days on end. Frank Carveth's mentally disturbed ex-wife Nola undergoes an experimental and controversial psychotherapy regimen in seclusion under the care of the morally dubious Dr. Hal Raglan. Having reason to believe that his 5-year-old daughter is being abused by her mother, our protagonist fights for sole custody, but doesn't have the resources to become her primary caretaker and legal guardian. As Nola's treatment intensifies, a series of violent murders involving those close to Frank take place, and each one is more brutal and bizarre than the last. Thanks to Cronenberg's willingness to use body horror as a vehicle to explore repressed emotional trauma, The Brood channels its rage into an abomination that's grotesquely literal, leading to a third-act reveal that's almost too much to stomach. And don't get us started on the creepy-as-hell childlike figures that are ever present, but just out of frame whenever all hell breaks loose. Cementing David Cronenberg's legacy as one of the early body horror trailblazers, The Brood doesn't just get under your skin, it grows there like an infection. Would you like to hear deeper discussions about some of these movies? Check out the Genre Vision Movie Club podcast for episodes on Soilent Green, Westworld, and multiple versions of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Want to keep the channel alive and even help choose our videos? Join Giant Freakin' Robot as a member and you'll become a credited producer as well as part of the GFR team. Like the video, give us your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel for more from us here at Giant Freakin' Robot.